Hi, I'm Kiran Mata. Welcome to the dynamic and vast world of the travel industry. Today we'll be going through the lovely world of travel and tourism through a new perspective. That is, you would have a very small introduction or very small view into the same. You would go through the various continents of the world and two very important organizations, that is IATA, UFTA. Then you also would go through the areas and sub-areas as decided by IATA. And lastly, we will be covering a little bit about the 2-letter codes and 3-letter codes, which are again designed by IATA. To begin with, when you look at the world globe, 71% of the world globe is covered with water. The various other land masses that are present form the continents. These continents are again divided once again divided by all the major water bodies, namely the oceans. Now going back to geography, you would find that there are 7 continents in the world, namely Asia, Australia, Europe, Africa and Americas. You also have the Arctic and the Antarctica. These are the 7 continents. But besides these, you would also find that one very important organization, which I have just mentioned in the introduction, called IATA, which is International Air Transport Association. This particular organization counts only 5 continents, that is Asia, Australia, Africa, Europe and the Americas. It excludes Arctic and Antarctica. Amongst these, all the continents, you would find that Asia is the largest continent and you have Australia to be the smallest continent. To let you know, with regards to the IATA and UFTA organizations, we would have a very small purview about the same. What happens is that the travel and tourism industry is a very vast industry which has many sectors and each of them have their own interests. Now all these sectors which have their various interests, they group together and they form associations or organizations. With the result, what they do is they form a forum by which they can discuss common issues. They could come together and collaborate about how to set up new industry standards, and if any changes are required in any section of the society, then those changes can be done in order to favor the travel and tourism industry. Also in order to network and negotiate with other partners that work across the world, these particular forums or these particular organizations are put together. To start with, you have the first organization, which is IATA. This is International Air Transport Association. It governs the international air transport industry across the world. Of course, it has domestic airlines as well, which are part of its membership, but you would find that the international air transport industry would be the major clients. This was formed in the year 1945 and it enjoys 2 headquarters, that is Geneva in Switzerland and Montreal in Canada. It also has a website address which you could go through and obtain more information about this organization, that is www.iata.org. The major features with regards to this organization is that it has over 260 members, of which they make up 95% of the international air traffic that travels around the world. In 1947, what it did is it had its first traffic conference, which we called as TC. From here on, we would refer to it as TC. This particular traffic conference was held in order to discuss various fare construction rules, baggage allowances and other various things related to the travel field, which would help the passenger as well as the cargo side of the industry. Beyond this, IATA also plays a coordinating role with regards to the multilateral international interline traffic agreements. Now these are put together so that this allows the airlines worldwide to accept each other's documents as well as tickets and other various documents. This favors both the passenger and the cargo industry. In 1952, what IATA also went further with is forming the passenger sales agency agreement. This particular agreement was put together so that the travel agent and the airlines could form a very standardized way of working and forming a base for the airline industry. In order to help travel agents qualify better and be more professional, also to know the standard ticketing procedures and the various fare construction rules, what IATA did further is in 1970s put together something called as the IATA-UFTA training program. Now this particular program has two levels, that is, they have the standard course as well as the advanced course. This particular program can be availed worldwide. They have exams held worldwide for the same on a Sunday, which is one exam paper of theory and practical. This particular exam is held in March and September of every year. On the website address that I have provided to you, you would find all the details present. Besides this lovely organization complementing it, there is another organization which supports strongly, that is the travel agents around the world. This is nothing but UFTA. Its full form is Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association. It was formed in the year 1966 and it has its headquarters in the Principality of Monaco. This is part of France itself, a very small place, a very small principality by itself. It has a website address which you can again go through in detail, which is www.ufta.org. This particular organization is the governing body or the main body which takes care of all the national travel agents associations around the world across different countries, and it's the major representative which takes care of travel agents around the world. It enjoys a consultative status with the United Nations even as of today. The UFTA Secretariat consists of very important set of people, starting with the Secretary General, and there is a very small team who takes care, who's based in Monaco, and they take care of all the work that is assigned to them. This is done by the elected board of directors. The board of directors are nothing but people across the travel agents from different cross sections across the world who come together and form these board of members. They are the one who give directions. Now besides travel agents, you also have other travel partners who can obtain UFTA membership. Now these are nothing but major airlines, hotels, shipping companies and other operators who contribute to the travel industry in some way or the other. They can be part of, they can also avail of the UFTA membership. And last but not the least, UFTA also plays a major role in helping the travel agent improvise himself, learn whatever is latest in the industry, and also provide better qualified certification. So its education committee supports the same IATA-UFTA program which I spoke of earlier. Now besides this, what agents can also do is, travel agents can also apply for IATA accreditation. That is, they can be, a travel agent can also be an IATA qualified agent or a non-IATA agent. If he applies for the membership, then in that case, he would also be given a certain set of rules and certain protocols to follow when running his travel agency, as well as along with the name of the travel agency, he would be allowed to use the logo of IATA. To take you a little more into the world globe, that is bringing you back once again to geography and to the world map. Earlier we covered the continents of the world and also the names of the same, as well as IATA counting 5 of them. We had an introduction with regards to what the two organizations are, that is IATA and UFTA. To take you one step further now, when you look at the surface of the Earth's globe, the major land masses are continents, and these are divided by oceans. The oceans are the major water bodies, that is, you have four major oceans, that is the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. IATA goes a step further, that is, takes these continents and divides the world into three areas, three traffic conference areas, namely IATA Traffic Area 1, Area 2 and Area 3. Here you can have a diagrammatic look at the same about three IATA traffic conference areas, taking you through each of them. That is, Area 1 or TC1, Traffic Conference Area 1, is made up of the Americas, North, Central and South America, including Greenland. This particular area is bounded by two oceans, that is the Pacific Ocean and you have the Atlantic Ocean. Area 2 or TC2 is again very important. It has the continent of Europe, you have Africa, you have Gulf and the Middle East countries and also the broken countries of Russia that lie in Europe, which make up Area 2. And lastly, we have Area 3 or Traffic Conference Area number 3, which consists of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, island of the Pacific Ocean, and you have the broken countries of Russia that lie in Asia. This is what makes up all the three areas. These three areas play a major role when deciding a particular passenger's journey also, and it gives you an overview how to look at the globe when planning a particular itinerary for a passenger. Further to this, you would find that IATA divides these areas into even more smaller zones or what we call as sub areas. Each area 1, 2 and 3 would have their own sub areas, and this would help us even narrow down or even predefine a particular passenger's journey if he is traveling more than one country or more than one continent. Starting with area 1 or TC1, this is divided into three sub areas. You have the North Atlantic sub area, you have the South Atlantic sub area and the Mid Atlantic sub area. The North Atlantic sub area consists of Canada, Greenland, Mexico and the USA. USA again is very large. It has neighboring countries as well. So you have Alaska, you have Hawaii, you have Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands, which make up the North Atlantic sub area. Then we have the 5 countries of South America, which make up the South Atlantic sub area. These can be remembered in short as ABC up, namely as Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Uruguay and Paraguay. And lastly, the largest of the sub areas amongst area 1 is the Mid Atlantic sub area. This particular sub area makes up the remaining part of North America, that is the Caribbean sub area. You also have Central America, and leaving the 5 countries of South America that fall under South Atlantic sub area, the remainder South American countries including the Panama Canal zone would make up the Mid Atlantic sub area. Following this, you have area 2, which is again made up of 3 main sub areas, that is the Europe sub area, the Middle East sub area and the African sub area. The Europe sub area contains all the countries belonging to the continent of Europe. To name a few, you have Iceland, Ireland, France, Germany, Russia, Yugoslavia, Poland. All these would form part of the Europe sub area, plus you have 3 other countries which are Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. Geographically, or when you open the map, you would see that Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia actually form part of northern portion of Africa, but as per IATA, they have been included in the Europe sub-area. Following this, we have the Middle East sub-area. This is made up of the countries of Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Yemen, and also additional to this are 2 African countries which are part of the Middle East sub-area as per IATA. They are the countries of Egypt and Sudan. And lastly, the African sub-areas are further divided into 6 regions. It is a very dense country with lot of small sub-countries with really complex names, but a very interesting place to travel in. Again, some parts of this particular country are still developing nations, some part of these are already developed nations, but still hope is there for this particular continent's economy to still grow further in the near future. Coming back to the 6 regions of Africa, you have the Central Africa, which is made up of 3 countries, which is Malawi, Zimbabwe and Zambia. Then you have the Eastern Africa sub-area, which is made up of the countries of Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Djibouti, Burundi, Rwanda and Uganda. Interestingly enough, you have one country which is Libya, or also called as Libyan Arab Jamahiriya. This particular country as per IATA has been classified as a sub-region by itself. And the most travelled about and talked about even during cricket and also for people who love travelling, that is the Southern Africa portion, which includes the following countries, that is Botswana, South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, Mozambique and Namibia. In case you are around this area, you could also visit the Victoria Falls, which are really beautiful to see, and also visit the Table Mountain. There are lovely South African safaris that you could also take, and it makes for a memorable stay here also. And of course, not to forget the beautiful islands, that is of the Indian Ocean islands. These 6 places are also spoken of, that is especially speaking of Mauritius, which is well known. Mayotte, you have Madagascar, again these are all in the water but really beautiful and worth visiting. You have Seychelles, Comoros and also the Reunion Islands, which are worth a visit. And amongst these, the largest sub-region is of the Western Africa. This contains all the remaining African countries. This would border up right from Mauritania, you have Central African Republic, you have Chad, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea and also Cape Verde, another beautiful island that you could, another beautiful place that you could visit, which is part of the Western African sub-area. And here we come to area 3, which has the following 4 sub-area groupings. These are again fascinating to visit. You have the Japan-Korea sub-area, which has these 3 countries, that is of Japan, North Korea and South Korea. The second sub-area grouping is of South Asian subcontinent. You could remember it as SASC, that is in short. It makes up for the, it's made up of these 8 countries, that is Maldives, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, India, Pakistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh and lastly you have Sri Lanka, and not to forget the country India. The Southwest Pacific sub-area grouping, which is abbreviated as SWP, it makes up for Australia, New Zealand, islands of the Pacific Ocean. Just to name a few of these beautiful islands which you can visit, they are Kiribati, Fiji Islands, Solomon Islands, Tuvalu, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Tahiti. These are some of the beautiful places that you could visit around the Southwest Pacific area. And lastly, the largest amongst all these sub-area groupings in Area 3 is nothing but Southeast Asia, which is SEA. This includes all the remaining countries of Asia. For example, you have Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Hong Kong, China, etc. So far we have come across the continents, we covered IATA and UFTA organizations. You learn broadly about the classification of IATA into 3 areas. These areas are further divided or further classified into sub-areas so that you can plan a passenger's itinerary, and also on the surface of the globe you can indicate where the passenger is particularly traveling, make his itinerary across the continents, even plan a round the world journey for all you know. IATA is also into the IATA training program, so it also helps in providing a certain pattern and a format. That's how you have the 2-letter codes and 3-letter codes. Now, why are these there? They are there in order to be part of the documentation, that is, it favors both the passenger and the cargo industry, that is even the freight industry, with regards to these 2-letter codes and 3-letter codes. When you come to the 2-letter codes, they are used on various tickets and documentation, because everywhere full forms are not used. Even when calculating fares or particularly organizing a certain itinerary, these 3-letter codes and 2-letter codes are also used. Now, IATA has given 2-letter codes to airline carriers and specifically to state names. Airline carriers would include, for example, American Airlines, which is AA. Now, if a flight number is there and let's say your passenger is flying from New York to London on AA 101, you would have this particular code of AA mentioned, this flight number mentioned on the ticket as AA 101. The full name of the airline would not be written, but the flight number would be written as AA 101 on the ticket. Similarly, to give you one more example here, we have Cathay Pacific Airways, which is CX. It is not essential that the 2-letter codes or the 3-letter codes for that matter would exactly match the name of that particular carrier or that particular place, and the code would not be exact. Whatever has been designated by IATA would be mentioned here, like Cathay Pacific Airways would not be CP, you have it as CX. This is designated by IATA. This would have to be memorized by us, and over a period of time, as in how you use it, you would definitely remember it. Coming to the state names, you have Texas, for example, which is part of USA. There are like 50 states in USA, this is just one of them. You have Texas in USA, which 2-letter code is TX. Queensland in Australia, which is QL. So, any of these very big countries where you have certain state codes, these are essential at certain times when looking through taxes also. So, there is a practical use for all these codes that are put up here. IATA has given 3-letter codes to city, currencies and airports. Giving you an example of each, taking the city of Mumbai, which is BOM, Seoul, which is SEL. Amongst the currencies, you have the currency codes, which is Indian rupees, which is INR, Great Britain pound, which is GBP, and finally you have the airport names, that is the London Heathrow Airport, which is whose 3-letter code is LHR, New York Newark Airport, which is EWR. Bearing in mind that these 3-letter codes, again, like the city's name is Mumbai, but the code is BOM. So, it's not that exactly you would have the name of the city and the 3-letter code matching. This has to be memorized as it is. To keep in mind, these particular codes are written on an airline ticket and when doing fare calculation, plus One more thing to keep in mind is that these 3-letter codes are also utilized or also can be overlapping with the airport code. That is, for example, if I take Mumbai itself, Mumbai's 3-letter code as a city is BOM, and Mumbai Chhatrapati International Airport is also BOM itself. So, it is commonly shared. Similarly, there is one more city like that, which I can give you an example for, that is Singapore city, whose city code is SIN, as well as Singapore Changi Airport, whose also 3-letter code is SIN. So, you would come across these particular examples. Now, taking you to airport codes, I would like to highlight one thing, that is with regards to London Heathrow Airport. A particular city has multiple airports. Your passenger may come and ask you, which airport am I departing or arriving at in London. So, in that case, besides the name of the city on the ticket, you would also need to mention the 3-letter codes, so that it indicates to him and he is aware which airport he will be arriving or departing in London city. So, this is the practical use of these particular 2-letter codes and 3-letter codes as done by IATA. May this be a fascinating journey into the beginning of the world of travel and tourism. May you experience the adventure and the dynamism of the travel and tourism industry, and may you progress further. I wish you a happy learning. Thank you so much.